War Eagle War Report family, I'm your host C-Dub, and we have a great show lined up for you guys today. Is Auburn the number one team in the country? Well, they're definitely the hottest team, extending their winning streak to 13 with a come-from-behind victory against Ole Miss, and the fellas are all here to discuss that. We'll break that down. Also, we'll cover a little bit of news regarding the transfer portal as it pertains to football, so you definitely want to hang around for that. For now, sit back, get your weight up, because your weekend tailgate starts right now.
You are now listening to a War Report Weekend Tailgate, brought to you by University Ace Hardware. It's your boy, I Jones. Be Will, C-Dog, Mike G. Get ready, sit on back as we bring you the War Report Weekend Tailgate.
War Eagle, everyone. War Eagle, welcome to the latest and greatest weekend tailgate brought to you by our good friends at University Ace Hardware. For your hardware needs, Ace is definitely the place for you. And guys, if you want to support us, please support our sponsors. So if you're ever in the Auburn area, please be sure to stop by 2101 East University Drive. Drop in and let them know that your friends at the War Report sent you. Also, speaking of support, shout out to our community, the best online community there is, the War Report family. Guys, do us a favor, whether you're watching us live or on replay, share this video on social media. Please be sure to use hashtag #GetYourWeight Help people to find our content in the off season and help us to grow our community. Now, for those of you who aren't patrons, Mike G is here to tell you what you are going to be missing out on.
Yeah, say it slow. Become a patron. So this is a great way to support our content. We are working hard. January to July, hardest working content creators out here in these YouTube streets, bringing you all the Auburn news, creative content, film reviews. Listen, become a patron. More and more of our content are going to be going behind this wall, so you want to jump in now while you can. $5.99 will get you there. Just go to our YouTube front page. Look for that join button. If you're on an iPhone, you may have to hit a computer or view YouTube on Safari in desktop mode to see that join button and get signed up. Make sure to use the same YouTube details that you normally sign in with. It's a common mistake. People accidentally create new accounts or use other accounts they didn't know they had. Your perks will transfer to your iPhone after you get signed up, so no need to worry. Become a patron today. This is a great way to support our content and get a little extra out of being a member of the War Report. Guys, we are sponsoring the Lee County Humane Society. We're raising money for them for a good cause. We're trying to hashtag save all the puppies. Please hit the about section of our YouTube channel. Click this link. 50 cents on every dollar donated goes to the Lee County Humane Society to help them hashtag save all the puppies. So please do this. We appreciate it. For those of you who didn't know, it's cold outside today. It's cold where I am. It's 20 degrees where I am. So we're giving away hoodies in honor of it being cold as hell outside. Get your Lobtown hoodie. Hashtag get your weight up in the comments. This is brought to you by GWT2 Energy.com. That's GWT2 Energy Consulting Services. Our guy Walt Taylor in the comments sponsoring these giveaways, giving you something special every live stream. So for those of you, if you're new watching us at the hour mark, we're going to give away one of these hoodies. This is one of the favorite things that we do is giving stuff away to you guys for watching us. So I appreciate everybody who's going to do that. I want to take time to talk a little bit about PrizePicks. PrizePicks is officially a sponsor of the War Report. So if you missed these segments that we've been dropping before every game, this is a unique way to kind of have some fun, make a little money with some entries and follow along with the game. It gives you a little bit of extra incentive to watch the game a little differently. So if you go back and you watch yesterday's segment, we made 3 picks. We did an all or nothing. Jabari came up 2 free throws short of us nailing our card. Yeah. Oh, man, he just didn't get fouled a lot in that game. I expected more. Yeah. But Wendell Green came through, and even Ole Miss's center, Brooks, stayed under the rebound total that we picked. So this is we didn't win, but it was still fun. You can win. If you had played the flex, you would have won. So go to prizepicks.com, use code rapport. Use code rapport and sign up so they know you came over from the War Report. That also guarantees you 100% match up to $100. So prizepicks.com, use code rapport when you're signing up, or you can click the link. You'll find the link to this in the description of any of our videos. That will autofill the code for you. So a little less work for you guys to do there. So appreciate everybody who's going to go over there and do that. Support us by supporting our sponsors. Last but not least, we're out here in these podcast streets, starting podcast beef, taking down every challenger. So
why do you do this, man?
Yeah, I need everybody to know we're not just YouTube. We are battling everybody out here. So
but why has it got to be a battle? I don't understand.
Because it's more fun. Because it's more fun when it's a battle. Beef is fun. Anyway,
people have 2 hours a day to listen to multiple podcasts, man.
Yeah, I don't know about all that. Listen. Podcast, go over to Apple Podcasts, sign up. We're putting out a lot more content on podcast. So we're coming at you 4, maybe sometimes 5 days a week when we have specials. So go check that out. We'll also be producing some podcast only content in the coming weeks. So you don't want to miss that. There's going to be some stuff that you're only going to be able to get on podcasts and not even on YouTube. So go check us out on podcasts.
JT Martin, speaking of which,
that's rough.
Missed out on 500 because of those 2 free throws. Sorry about that, JT.
I thought he was a lot. You know, if we had picked the over 14.5 points, we would have won again.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure, but they were really trying to deny him the ball at the beginning of that game. I don't know if you guys saw it, but it just every time he touched it, it was a double, triple team. Just to force it to somebody else. So I just really thought that he would try to create his shot and get to the free throw line. 2 free throws on the all or nothing card would have gotten us there. So we'll get him next time.
Getting in on the prize picks too. That's what's up.
Yes.
Listen, it is fun though. Listen, I have to admit that I enjoy, like, it does add just a little bit more intrigue to a game when you're doing the props, because you know you're rooting for your team, but at the same time you're like, oh, I need such and such to get another touch, because if he does, then you know I get an opportunity. And you know, like the last game, I was sitting there like, man, KD, where you at, bro? Like, I need another 3, Brand. Where you at? And he never touched the ball again. And then this game, I was like, yo, get the ball to Jabari while they fouling so we can get 2 more free throws. They never gave him the ball again. I was like, man, come on, dog.
Yeah. That's one thing about this team, though. This team, because so many different guys can do it, it's going to be really, even if it makes absolutely the most sense to assume that Jabari Smith, that they're going to clamp down on him, he's going to get sent to the line. But then you have KD take over like he did. And then now who's going to get it depends on the night, man. It's really hard to predict. If Jabari was the only star we had, then that would have been a easy lock. But we got other guys that can do it.
Yeah, listen, man, the folks at PrizePicks know how to put. They know what they're doing with these props, because it's always been like razor thin margin, except for when Jabari went for 20 something and they had him at 14.5. Like that's
but you know, but he was like around that little, you know, the past few games he was scoring like 10, 14, you know, so he just exploded that night. So
and Buddy Brooks, like, see, he only had 3 rebounds in the first half, and I thought we were a lock. And then he just kept collecting them in the second half. I was like, no. But the bet was 8.5.
And he stopped at 7. No, it was 8 even. It was 8 flat, and he stopped at 7. No, it was 8.5.
8.5, right? Yeah. So he could have got
9.
Yeah, and it was crazy to watch that. And I was like, watch him get a garbage rebound at the end of the game after we just like heave up something. And that'll be the reason that we didn't get it. And so it was fun. It was fun to watch the game that way. And the way that you can do this is it does not have to mess with your rooting interest in the game.
Right.
So if you still think Auburn's going to do well, you can make your picks that way so that you do not have to hope for Auburn to do bad to win. That's how I like to bet. But, you know, don't bet with your heart. I don't recommend that. It was just a lot of fun. So make your picks at prizepicks.com. They're our new betting sponsor. We really appreciate everybody who's going to go over there and support us by signing up. Use that code.
Well, guys, you know, we've been talking about the Auburn Ole Miss game, and Auburn, of course, pulled out a very entertaining game, I would say. Definitely had trap game written all over it. But Auburn comes out victorious, winning 80-71 on the road. And now the question becomes, we'll talk about and break down the game and player of the game, University A's hardware tools of the game. We'll talk about that later, but let's just get to it. Is Auburn the number one team in the nation? And should they be ranked number one come tomorrow when the AP and coaches polls are released? Ike, what you think?
Ask me the question again.
Should Auburn be ranked number
Yes.
one?
And you ask a second question.
Are they the number one team in college basketball? Yes.
The next question is, will they be ranked number one? Gonzaga likely will be.
Okay.
We are the best team in the country. We deserve to be ranked number one. We likely will be ranked number two.
Oh, it's horseshit.
Well, Mike, I feel like you're holding back your feelings on.
Man, come on, bro. Like the 100th something, like 117 or something is their schedule rank, right? We have a common opponent, right? Who they technically they technically played at a neutral site, even though it was almost a home game for them, because Bama had to travel across the country for that neutral site game. Right. And then we beat that team at home. So, like, I mean, does that mean that we beat Gonzaga? Not necessarily, but I don't think that it's irrelevant in this discussion. You have to take common opponents into discussion if you're talking about which team is better, especially if they don't play each other.
Yeah.
Right. That's still part of the equation. So I don't know, man. You could, if you look at in the NET, so I think today Gonzaga moved up to 1 in the NET. Auburn moved from 6 to 4, right? So, we both moved up 2 spots from where we were. And scoring margin is definitely a part of the formula, but it's capped at 10 points. So if you beat a team by 10, it counts for something. If you beat a team by 20, it's the same as if you had beat them by 10, as far as the NET is concerned. However, with their weak schedule, there's going to be more of those on their record than ours. And that's why I don't know, man. We should be number one, but I'm with Ike. We probably won't be.
I think, well, let's go ahead and look at coming into January 10th, when the last AP coaches poll was released. They were identical as it pertains to the top 4 spots. Now, once they got to spot 5, they started to differ. So this graphic here shows what they look like in the AP and the coaches, 1 through 4 as of January 10th, which is this past Monday. Baylor was the number 1 team prior to playing Texas Tech and Oklahoma State. We know what happened to them. They're currently in the midst of a 2-game losing streak. Gonzaga, of course, took care of their opponents, BYU and Santa Clara. That kind of speaks to Mike G's point about their schedule. UCLA actually lost to Oregon last week. They were ranked ahead of us, so they would have likely been the beneficiary, it would have been the conversation between them and Gonzaga. But Gonzaga, I think, actually beat UCLA early in the season. So I don't think they would have had much of an argument to jump Gonzaga. So it does come down between the 2 schools. Now, you mentioned Gonzaga's strength of schedule, Mike G, and let's just talk about who they've beaten so far. Now, when it's all said and done, we will definitely have a stronger schedule. But so far, they have beaten Texas Tech. Okay. They have beaten UCLA, which is still in the top 10. They actually, at the time, and I don't know why they were ranked this high, but they beat Texas, who was like in the top 10 at the time.
Expectations.
I mean, Bama was ranked pretty high at the beginning of the season too. So
sure, but they lost to Bama.
Texas Tech beat Baylor, and then turned around and lost to a team that hadn't won a game in conference. The next game,
right?
So, like, I mean, I don't know. The weight of that whole Texas Tech thing just kind of doesn't sit right with me either. And if you're trying to account for teams getting better as the season has progressively gone on as well, too, I'm not sure the NET really accounts for that, right? I mean, there were games where, we almost reached the scoring threshold for margin of victory in this game. We missed it by 1 point.
Right.
We're down by 14 and ended up winning by 9.
Right.
And how many times have we seen them do that already in just half the season where, it just looked like it could be gloom and doom, and then they end up winning by over 10 points. Yeah. So, the SEC is tough, right? LSU is bolstering our case, it feels like, every week. I know they took an L this week, but the conference is tough, man. That wasn't a bad team they lost to. So,
but to the point that you just made, the thing that I think hurts us is the fact that we do get down so often in these games. And so if, eye test will tell you, we don't get rattled easily, but we're also able to get got if a team can maintain whatever sort of momentum they get to get up on us. And that's been the problem. Again, I'll say it over and over again. The reason that we win basketball games is because there's not a significant drop off when we go to our bench. And most teams either don't have a deep enough rotation to go to their bench 10 deep and not have a significant drop off, or they literally have a significant drop off past number 6, right? Like they can't even go 7 deep. We can go 10 deep. And then so when we get people in foul trouble, we're able to manufacture other ways to get points and still have defensive things happening. And that's the reason why big deficits don't scare us, because it's like, all right, well, we just send another wave out there, make up the deficit, then we put our big boys back in there, and then now they've got momentum. And it's just really hard to beat a team that there's no significant weakness that you can exploit. Not a significant one. There are weaknesses, and I've talked about them before, and we'll outline them more as I get into some of the film reviews. But the significant weakness to exploit against Auburn doesn't exist right now. And so it's going to be tough. It's a tough out. You have to play like Ole Miss did in the first half the entire game. You can't miss a bunch. Right. When they started missing coming out in the second half, I was like, oh, we're going to win. Like, I knew immediately we were going to win.
I felt like we were going to win when they were. I felt like we were going to win when they kept. I was like, you're not going to be able to sustain.
That's what I'm saying. That's my whole. I was like, if they keep shooting like this, there's no way we win this game, because you just can't beat a team that's shooting this well.
They're shooting 70%, right?
They closed out the half with the 2 big turnovers, and then they came out in the second half and missed the first couple of open shots. I was like, oh, we're going to win the game.
Yeah, that's something that, having done basketball sports betting for a while, the end of the first half run is a telltale. It is a telltale almost every game. If a team is up big and they're playing well, whoever goes on the strongest streak to end the first half has an advantage coming out in the second half. Almost every time. When we did that, I went and placed a $100 bet on Auburn for the second half and won $100 because I was like, oh, it's easy. Yeah. And that's guaranteed. That is a sign that I am not rattled, even though it looks like we've been out of this game. And I am focused. And that just, it resets the momentum coming out of the half. So yeah, I'm with you. Like, I saw that. I was like, oh, you're going to let KD. That's it. We win.
Oh, yeah. He got real. Like, the second turnover was disrespectful. It was just like, he was just like, yeah, that's my ball. Thanks.
Give me that, please. Yeah. Ben Bluntworth says, I hope we get ranked number 2, because this team with another chip on their shoulders is a very dangerous thing for our opponents. Number 1 could bring complacency. Maybe I don't know. I don't know
if this team gets complacent.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm worried about with this one. They built different.
Yeah, but we're number 1 in the SEC, so we still got to keep our heads on a swivel, because teams are gunning for us. So you can't afford, regardless of your national ranking, get complacent regardless what happens, because you're the hunted now.
Yeah,
and so you're going to have games like what happened yesterday.
Look what Bruce Pearl said after the game, right? In the post game, which was a complete circus. I asked him about the potential number 1 ranking and said, hey, listen, can you talk about the significance of this ranking? And, hey, you're definitely going to get every team's best shot after this. And his response was, listen, we're going to get beat.
Yeah.
But when we get beat, it's not going to be because we were resting on our laurels. And then he went on to give an epic quote about how Auburn wants to be an everything school. Number 1 at gymnastics, number 1 at football, number 1 in business school, number 1 engineering school, and everything school. So I just think if you look at it, he knows, and he's preparing them mentally for that. Let's say Ole Miss had kept shooting like they were in that first half. The reason I wasn't worried was because we were still shooting over 50%. It was not as if we were shooting poorly and losing. They were just shooting out of their minds.
Right.
And history has shown us that rate is unsustainable.
Right.
It would have been an all-time. Yeah, it would have been an all-time.
They would have had to be like lights out again in the second half, and I was like, I don't know if they can maintain this.
No,
and like I said, the first few minutes of the second half, I was like, oh yep, see, they're coming back down to earth. That's it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See, it's tough to do that at the NBA. Like I can't.
It happens in the league all the time. When you see a team up like 14 in the first quarter, you check their stats for like shooting 86%. I'm betting this other team to come back. Like, even if they don't win it, like the margin on live betting, and we'll talk some more about that when we get close to football season again. The betting lines, you can bet a game live as it's happening based on what the current score is right now. So the game before they started, I think we were favored by 8, right? When we got down 14, we were favored to win by 1. Bet, like, are you kidding me? It's us. You know what we can do, because right now you look at that score and say, I don't know, they're down 14. Yeah, but look at how they're.
That reminds me of that Kevin Durant interview. Where the dude was like, I'm Kevin. Y'all know who I am, right? Yeah. I'm Kevin Durant. Y'all know who I am, right?
Right.
Oh, okay. All right.
But those ebbs and flows, and it's important to take note of that. Now, again, Ole Miss didn't have the horses. They actually, and people pointed this out in the chat and on Twitter as well while it was going on, their rotation is short. They're missing at least one guy, I think.
2 guys.
Their top scorer. Then a guy went down during the game.
Yeah. And so it was only they came out and they swung for the fences. And yes, they played a really, really good first half. 40 minutes of that after we mentally and emotionally get into the game. Good luck.
Listen, I watched Bama essentially do the same thing, right? Like, I watched them. Ike has repeatedly said they're a streaky jump shooting team, and when they're hitting from 3, they're hard to beat. But the thing about jump shooting teams is, the streak is going to end eventually. Right. Now, if you look at the history of basketball, I would say, even outside college, what we saw from Golden State was one of the best shooting streak we've ever seen in the history of basketball. Those guys played out of their minds until the last 3 games of that finals against the Cavs, where suddenly the jump shots weren't falling, right? Yeah. And it still took the best player of all time to come back and win that game. And Ole Miss doesn't have
Michael Jordan played in that game.
Right. Yeah.
We ain't gonna start that.
No, I didn't know they brought him. I didn't know they signed him for.
I went in and spilled my personal feelings about pro basketball accidentally, but
all time.
When you look at Ole Miss's team, they just didn't have that guy, right? So for them to sustain that rate, usually what it takes as a team, it's almost impossible, but it's usually just one guy having the game of his life, playing out his mind,
right?
Hitting shots from everywhere. And they just didn't have the guy that was going to do that. Who was the other guy? Not Brooks, the other guy that was hitting all those threes. I forgot his name.
Morrell was hitting a lot of threes.
Morrell was draining. It was another guy off the bench.
Brakefield. Not Brakefield.
No, I think it was the first guy you said. Yeah, but like
Fagan.
Yeah, Fagan was the one that he averages something like 8 points a game, and he had 12 in the first half.
He was shooting out of his mind. Fagan.
Man. Yeah, I mean, listen, it was impressive to start, and then the law of averages just caught up with him.
Yeah,
right, and then that's when consistency and process takes hold. So, Auburn doesn't panic because they know that they're not playing terribly. But they did have to make some adjustments. And then when we started rolling Kessler to the basket and, those things and started penetrating that zone that was working because they were defending us high, right? Mm-hmm. Like, and it was just a quick trap. And it looked like we were having some trouble, getting around it. And then finally, then he puts Wendell Green in and he just starts doing win stuff. And, it is what it is. So,
Wendell was really good in this game, man. He was really good in this game. He didn't take a lot of this is one of the first games I can say I didn't sit to my and say to myself during the game, what was that shot? Like, why that shot, Wendell? Right? Like he was measured when he got to the lane. He was under control. He had that great find where he drove all the way underneath the basket and then he kicked it out to the top of the key. And I was just like, yo, this dude, he's really being a surgeon right now. Like the lobs were timely. He had great finishes in the lane. He hit another deep 3 to back. Like I was like, yo,
he was very efficient. He was very efficient. Very efficient. Let me grab this super chat real quick by Corey. Corey, hope you're doing better, man. I know you've been kind of under the weather. He says last several games in a row, AU has more fouls than our opponents. Ike, is that the result of us not attacking the rim offensively, in your opinion?
So there are a couple of things. Number one, we're getting a lot of fouls we shouldn't get. So that definitely makes the average go a little bit heavier in that direction. Number two, yeah, I think that there is a little bit of a little too fascinated with the outside shot sometimes. Like especially when we get into the half court, right? Like when we're in the and when I speak of half court, I mean like there is, what the fast break that's generated off of a turnover, but then you've got like that medium break where you can get into what they call early offense, right? Like it's not necessarily a fast break. The other team is back, but you're in your offense before they're fully set up into or entrenched in their defense. We don't get into that medium break often. We're either a full fast break team or we're walking it up the floor. When we do the walk it up the floor thing, teams tend to sink back down into the paint because they want to stop our dribble penetration, and we just allow them to do that, right? Ole Miss decided
did not do that.
They were going to extend their defense. They were going to come out and try to, stop us, because last game against Bama, that's what, ended up happening. They wanted to try to extend the defense. And they're like, oh, we can do that. We've got faster guards, Didn't work out so well because once we figured out what they were doing, then they were just getting downhill. But yes, I just don't think we're getting some of the foul calls that we probably should. And we're getting a lot of foul calls we probably shouldn't. But definitely a little too fascinated with the outside shot at times. There are periods in the game, like in the first half of the game, we took something like 14 threes. I don't even remember what it was. It was like a ridiculous amount of threes in the first half. And we just weren't making them, but we just kept shooting them. So, yes, a little too fascinated with the outside shot and a little heavy on the whistle from the other end.
JT Martin says, boy, we have a long way to go to be number one in football. We got a lot of work to do in that, but
hey man, I'm gonna say to JT what I say to, I've got a cousin and a good friend where three of us are in a group chat mostly about football, and they messaged me, sent me some meme about how many players are in the NFL playing for Bama, and I said, hey man, it's basketball season. Don't send me no more football stuff. It's basketball season.
Well, they can't talk about that
right now.
Yeah,
of course they can, but that's what I want to talk about.
Yeah,
basketball.
There was a Auburn Twitter just is constant entertainment. There was a Bama fan on Twitter that posted something like, if your football team played in the Birmingham Bowl and went 6-7, you're not allowed to crane kick or something.
So sensitive,
bro. And Auburn Twitter drug this chick over the coals for like 3 days straight. It was a massacre. I think she's like a singer or something. I mean, they were leaving reviews on iTunes and like it was so bad, right? And it was just the point that people were making was it's basketball season. Why are you talking about football? Why are you bringing the football team
Still
into
salty
the
you can talk about?
It's the crane kick pose. They're just salty about it.
Oh my
and
god!
the loss. I mean, they lost the Natty.
Yeah,
they think they should win every game that ever gets played by anybody ever, so they lost it. And
it was
then
a rough week for them. It was a rough week for them.
They're losers. They're losers right now. They're big time losers right now.
It was a lot of comedy to watch, and because of the Auburn meme barrage that happens after every game we win, like the mob mentality, mob spelled MAUB, right? The mob mentality that happens whenever somebody says something really, really stupid about Auburn sports is great. The swimming and diving team is getting in on it. They did a crane kick after they won their meet. I can't wait for gymnastics to get in on it. There's something very special happening with our fan base right now.
For sure.
But we got the worst fans ever, right? Like nobody wants to come here because of the fans.
Right. No, and I think it was dope too watching the game. And I'm like, bruh, we are like transforming other people's arenas into Auburn Arena, because I'm hearing Auburn with the ball on offense, and then we're hearing chants, "Let's go Auburn" on other people's home. You know what I mean? So it's just amazing to see our fans get excited, travel well, support our team, and then social media is just second to none, man. So Guys, let us know what's your thoughts. I'm pretty sure many of you are in agreement that Auburn should be number one. Let us know your thoughts as to what's going to happen once the new polls are released. Will Auburn be number one, or will they be behind Gonzaga? Let us know in the comments. I'm going to pause, guys. By the way, get the likes up if you've been watching, guys. Hit the thumbs up on this video. Please support us with the engagement. We'll pause to acknowledge the sponsors of the War Report.
The War Report's weekend tailgate show is brought to you by our generous sponsors. University Ace Hardware, located at 2101 East University Drive in Auburn, Alabama, right across the street from the Auburn Mall and next to the movie theater. For all of your hardware needs, Ace is the place. AuburnSports.com. For news and notes on all things Auburn sports, head over to AuburnSports.com. And our giveaway sponsor, GWT2 Energy. If you want the best in the business at restaurant logistics, check out our friends at GWT2Energy.com.
Hey, become a patron. This is a great way to support our content. We got lots of great patron content that will be coming to you guys here in the coming weeks. So become a patron, $5.99. Hit that join button on our YouTube front page to join the greatest community in the Auburn Sports Network. We are sponsoring the Lee County Humane Society to raise money for a good cause. So hashtag save all the puppies is what we're trying to do. You can find this link in the about section of our YouTube channel. 50 cents on every dollar goes to them to help them save all the puppies. So we're going to be doing some joint events. We're trying to organize some adoption events with them in the future. They're going to come join us at A-Day. Like, guys, you just want to be involved here. Let's help do some good in the world. Help support the Lee County Humane Society. We're giving away a Lob Town hoodie. It's cold outside, and so we want to keep you warm with some dope Auburn basketball gear. This is brought to you by GWT2 Energy Consulting Services. That's our guy, Walt Taylor, in the comments. Hashtag get your weight up in the comments to enter. We're going to pull at the 1 hour mark, so you don't want to miss that. Guys, we are on podcast, on every single podcast platform. We're releasing more content there. There will be some podcast only content that will be coming out soon. So you don't want to miss that. Subscribe to us on podcast. We'll let you guys know when that content drops here on the YouTube, because I know it's a lot to keep up with. Last but not least, we are sponsored by PrizePicks. So if you missed this, we drop this before every single Auburn game where we make a few picks. You can go to PrizePicks.com and register. So either click the link in the description of any of our videos, or use code RAPPORT if you just go to PrizePicks.com. Code RAPPORT. That makes sure that you get that $100 match, 100% match on up to $100 with PrizePicks. It's a fun way to kind of, have some extra fun on the game, possibly make some money. And the War Report is going to be doing it along with you guys every single Auburn game. So PrizePicks.com, code RAPPORT. Check us out. It's a good thing to do.
Thank you, sir. Also, Stuart Donald, appreciate the super chat. It says Bama lost a national championship, a swim meet, and 2 basketball games this week. 2 of those losses were at the hands of Auburn, a solid contender for week of the year. Definitely a great week for us to watch them suffer because they have been insufferable for quite some time. So to see them in agony is always welcomed. Guys, let's go ahead and talk more in depth about the actual game. We kind of mentioned it in the previous half of the show, but Auburn came from 14 down and beat Ole Miss, and we're now 16-1, 5-0 in the SEC, and in the midst of a 13-game winning streak. So the fans have voted. We always ask every Auburn victory, who's the player of the game, and it's who, my G?
Big Sexy. Let's go, Walker Kessler.
All right.
He had a game, people. And he deserves it, too. After all them fouls, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he deserves this.
20 points, 10 rebounds, and assists, 4 steals, 7 blocks in 33 minutes. They let him play today because he needed to play. He hasn't had a chance to really play. due to all the fouls that were called against him. He only has scored a total of 8 points in the past 2 games due to being in foul trouble and playing low minutes, just being out of the flow of the game. It was very good to see him just be able to play within the game. I noticed that he was, I wouldn't say timid early on, but I could see he was trying to avoid not being called because they were going, they were trying to score in the paint. They were having success scoring with their big man, and Kessler was just trying to stay in the game. I didn't know if you guys noticed that, but I think it took him getting involved offensively, especially the lobs that were thrown his way, the offensive boards. He had 5 offensive rebounds in this game, putbacks. And I think that allowed him to settle into the game and really become a factor. B. Will, your thoughts on Walker Kessler's performance?
Okay, so I was watching him play yesterday. I know we've won 2 games with him in foul trouble, limited minutes, right? I am so grateful we have Dylan Cardwell to fill in defensively. But last night was a very concentrated example of why when it comes tourney time, it has to be Walker Kessler. Our ability to, number one, defend. He does not defend by just slaughtering guys when they come to the lane. Like, he's light on his feet. He jumps quickly. He reacts and jumps quickly to people as they are driving, which is much different than I'm big and I'm going to get in your way. Like, Shaquille O'Neal was a huge guy, but he wasn't a great shot blocker. He was too big to be a great shot blocker. He was really quick. He was a little lazy on defense, to be honest. Anyway, Cardwell can defend, but Walker Kessler is quicker on his feet than Dylan Cardwell is. He jumps and reacts quickly, long, slender arms. He's not hacking people when they come to the lane. And he can block shots at such a high clip. Like, a lot of times, I assume that the refs are going to blow the whistle and call a foul on him. But as I watch the play and the replay, I'm like, he's really not fouling dudes. Like, some contact's going to be incidental. That's inevitable. You're playing basketball. He has an uncanny skill for a guy that tall to block and not make contact with the body. I have never seen an Auburn center do this like this. And come tourney time, not just when it's we're playing out of conference and a lot of guys are smaller, we are going to need that effort and that ability to be a dominant defensive team. We got all these scrappy guys on the perimeter. Great. We got an eraser inside, and that is what makes it work. It does not work on defense. We cannot harass people the way we can on the outside unless we've got a guy inside who can influence shots the way he can. Also, he can finish. He's finishing so well on lobs. One bounce back up, grab it right back to the rim. Defensive rebounding has improved significantly since the beginning of the season. He's on the boards. I think he got challenged a little bit in that UConn game. And since then, hey, man, well, it's so hard to say he's the most valuable player because some nights it might not be the biggest shot. He didn't make the biggest shot. Wendell Green has been making some huge shots.
For sure.
It's really hard for me as I look at what Walker Kessler contributes. Jabari Smith, of course, he's an otherworldly talent to be that tall and to be able to shoot like that. Walker Kessler is the difference between NCAA championship and Sweet 16 from what I see. Like, the more of it I see, then the more I know, yeah, we won that Bama game without Walker Kessler, but Bama's not that good. Bama's not that good. Walker Kessler is the dude. We are going to need him to beat elite teams. I'm glad he's on our team. Sorry, UNC. I'm not sorry.
Not at all. Mike G, your thoughts on Walker Kessler's game.
Yeah, he was what the 2019 team was missing. The only thing the 2019 team was missing. So having a dominated presence down low, particularly on defense. He blocked some shots last night over our own players. Right. It was impressive to watch. Like, I forgot who was guarding down low, but the guy was trying to back him in. Had him posted up, and Walker was standing over our guy that was defending him. And when he put the shot up, he just was this thing that came out of nowhere and said, "No, not today." So I I like his game. He's gonna have to find a way. There was something that was posted. I think it was Justin Hokanson that posted something about from the LSU game about he screenshotted it, and he was like, this was not called a foul. It was like a full-on face rake. And Walker has jumped straight up, not even touched anybody, and been called with a foul more than a few times this season.
Right.
And I just don't really, it's just like if he jumps, it's a foul. Right. So the only thing that I worry about is he's got to be able to stay aggressive in spite of how they're calling him. I really don't think, I hope that they're reviewing it. I hope that this is something that the league reviews and says, okay, guys, like, we're not calling this right on him. Let's make sure we keep an eye on this during the game. I know the NBA does that. Right. They get the refs. They get the refs together. I sat in a meeting with it's one of the coolest meetings I've ever been a part of, where they were talking about how to officiate Shaq. It was incredible. And they had all these plays picked out, and they were just like, listen, man, this dude is just big and strong. So we're calling fouls on him that we would, or we're letting non-calls go on Shaq because it doesn't look like a foul because he's so big and strong. Now this guy is tall and he's athletic. And when he jumps, at the end of the game too, I will tell you, there was a 3 at the end of our game where I swear our guy didn't touch the Ole Miss player. I hope I'm talking about our game. Tell me you guys remember. There was a corner 3 near the end of the game. And I was just watching it and I was just like, he didn't touch him. And there seems to be just a lot of plays where we're not even touching the guy they're saying that we're fouling on replay. Now, I know that you have the opportunity to challenge some foul calls in college basketball now, don't you?
Only in the
NBA that you can challenge?
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm like, in my head, I'm just thinking some of this stuff is just, if it affects the game, if it affects the outcome of the game, some of this stuff should be reviewable, particularly if we're talking about fouls where you're alleging that not only is it not a foul, our guy didn't even touch the other guy.
Well, there was definitely the one play where Jabari Smith was defending a guy who was coming into the paint kind of wild, and Jabari just backing up, and the dude lost control and fell. And they called a foul on Jabari.
Crap. Yeah.
Right, yeah. Corey Weber said, it was the Bama game that I was watching, where they put up a shot at the end of the game, and it was there was no contact at all. Right?
Yeah.
None. Now he was kind of in the shooter's space, but they never made contact. It was just so weird to watch them just call fouls on no contact plays. Right. It's not been particularly good this year. I hope they clean it up.
This is
SEC
college basketball.
tournament.
Mike, what you're describing is college basketball, which is why you hear coaches say, well, we just got to play through it. Honestly, I think if what was happening on the college level happened in the NBA is partly why you get reviewable calls, but also refs get demoted for calling bad games in the NBA and in the NFL. Like that happened. You get graded out.
That just ref that Bengals game apparently is not going to be allowed to ref any more playoff games for the rest of this season because of that one call on the inadvertent whistle.
Yeah, so that happens in the pros. They take it more seriously. College, not so much. I think some of that maybe in football. The fact that each conference has their own refs is probably not a good thing if we're going to talk about large picture in a lot of different ways. But in basketball, there are so many calls. There's so much action. I get why that's hard to officiate. And this is why I said on the previous show, they just call proximity and momentum. Like that's it. That's all they're calling. Oh, you jumped at him and he fell down, so you must have fouled him. No, I didn't. But it's going to happen so much that coaches just have to coach the players. Don't worry about it. Let's keep playing. Over the course of the game, we'll get this back. And eventually, and not get it back from the refs, but we will overcome whatever call they made. Now, what sucks is one bad call can absolutely turn a game. Can you imagine turning time where Walker Kessler gets a clean block, but it's his second block and it's early in the first half and it takes him off the floor? And so now we're without probably the most critical piece of our team for a long stretch, and we get in a hole and we fight back, but we lose the game because somebody was off the floor that shouldn't have been off the floor. It absolutely decides games, which is why, again, it's so hard for me to enjoy college basketball the way I do other sports. But what you were describing is, man, they got to fix this, right? No, they won't, because it's college basketball.
Well, so they did a good job. Somebody mentioned this in the comments just a minute ago, and it went by too quickly. On the flop call for the Ole Miss guy who took the three, nobody touched him, but he falls afterwards trying to get a call, and the ref was like, "Hold up. No,
bro.
Let's cut this out right now, bro. Don't do that." And then there was a call in a previous game where the guy kicked his foot out underneath the Auburn defender who went straight up, and the ref actually said, "Hey, look, you initiated that contact with your own kick out, right?" And so I'm not going to say they're getting better because they still steer it like that's there's levels to get to before we're talking about good officiating. But I do agree that it can get better over time if refs start to concentrate. But the problem is that with a 3-man crew, you might have one good ref, right? Like the other two could be absolutely terrible that day, and the one guy calling it straight is not the guy that's impacting your team the most.
Right.
And with the number of college basketball games that take place, where are your subs?
Right. There's so many referees that are necessary.
On a Saturday, there's like 40 or 50 games on big Saturdays in the late January and February.
Well, we can't control everybody, but inside our conference, right, we definitely have the resources to educate our refs and make sure that they are, the film reviews and some of the things that they do at the pro level. I don't think it should be out of reason that we should do some of those things to where they sit down and they just talk about, okay, who do we have in league this year? You got Jabari Smith. He's this big guy. He's, let's review calls made on him in the first third of the season and see if we're calling it correctly, right?
But that's your coach too, right? Like I'm sure that after those last two games, before this game started, Bruce Pearl pulled the refs aside like, hey, listen, guys, he's going straight up and down. You got to call it straight on my guy. You can't take my guy out of this game if he's going straight up and down. That's Bruce Pearl's job to get with the referees and say, call it right.
Right.
Pay attention to the fact, like he's going straight up and down. And he mentioned it in the post-game presser when somebody asked him about it. He's like, verticality is verticality. I don't know what else to tell you. Yeah. Right. Like if he's going straight up and down, he's allowed to do that as a shot blocker. You can't call that as a foul.
It was Hokinson that asked him the question about the fouls on Kessler. And he kind of smirked and gave a non-answer, but it was clear. He was just like, listen,
no, the message was super clear. He was like, hey, listen, verticality is verticality. Like, I don't know what else you want me to say.
Yeah.
And also, Bruce was really humble in the loss to when Virginia double dribbled. Honestly, if I was a coach,
he handled it well.
They would have probably had to drag me away from the podium. I would have been holding it like an angry rapper, yelling at me by name. Like I'm telling you, like you are not going to screw me out of possibly a national championship. And Bruce was as humble and as gracious as anybody could be. He did not lay into the refs like he could have. I don't think anybody would have blamed him if he had done that on that day when we lost that game. But that is buying some goodwill going forward. You clearly got hosed and you still didn't point the finger. So now when he goes to the refs and makes a complaint, or he goes to the league office, or he says something in the press that still isn't inflammatory, now they pay attention a little bit. So he did the right thing.
Yeah, I said Bruce Pearl is an absolutely phenomenal coach. He says the right things in press conferences. He gets on his guys on the sideline. He's, there was a point in the game. He was talking to Alan Flanagan about something that happened during the game, and he was like getting upset at him. And Alan was like, "What do you want me to do?" He's like, all right, just all right. He's like, okay, like we're not gonna do this right now, but you're wrong.
Yeah,
he's a good coach, man.
Yeah,
yeah,
and an amazing person. Auburn Dad for Life says, hey, fellas, can we discuss the no foul call on Ole Miss for the first 19 minutes of the game? We'll talk about that. Because I have some thoughts on that. I'm going to bounce off Ike and the rest of the fellas. And Murray State and Auburn burying the hatchet and joining forces on Twitter. Listen, if you can't beat us, you better join us.
You better.
Did you see? Yeah, they put out the meme where it's like you just got beat by the team who like lost to Auburn, something like that. Like,
did you see the Ole Miss posted the score backwards?
Yeah,
after the game. And then in 10 minutes, there were over 2,300 replies on that. And so they deleted it, and people were accusing them of deleting the post.
On purpose.
Yeah, right.
They purposefully posted the wrong thing first to get all of the vitriol out so they could delete the post for good cause and then repost the correct one. It didn't work.
It didn't work. There were like twice as many. It
did not work at all. Like that their strategy was, let's post something wrong on purpose so that we have to delete it, then we can repost it in
we don't come back to look at our posts.
Like, listen, on game night, I don't care how late the game is, Auburn Twitter is up until like 3 a.m. just posting stuff, and it was just funny to see that. My favorite meme last night was one. It said Senator Tubby wants you to hold his L's.
It's supposed to be Tuberville.
Tuberville, yeah.
It took the L's out. Tuberville wants you to have these.
It was one I saw that was like Smoke Monday says hold these L's, and then proceeded to get called for targeting.
I
was like, that was the one. That was the one.
My other favorite one was the iPhone call screen where it said
L's is calling you.
L's is calling. Yeah,
L's is calling you.
I was dying. We got some creative guys.
No, Auburn Twitter is exceptional. James Barnett says the refs are calling horrible calls on us, and we are still winning. Just think how bad we beat teams when the calls are correct.
That's the thing, man. Listen, man. This is why I don't think the best team in the country thing is a hyperbole, right? Like, I'm not just saying that because I'm an Auburn fan. I'm saying that because I've sat and I've watched games where we, again, still have not played our best basketball for 40 minutes, had terrible officiating, star players not playing up to their potential in games, and we're still double points. We're still in double-digit games, right? Like, you don't play your best basketball and you're still beating the pants off of people with bad officiating. That's a really good team. I'm sorry, like there's no ways to spin that, because I sat and watched Baylor struggle through a game yesterday and could not figure out a way to get over the hump against an inferior opponent. And that's not saying that Baylor's not a good basketball team. Baylor's going to be going late into the tournament more than likely. They can't figure out how to get over the hump when they don't play well. And Auburn has not had that problem. 2 overtimes, I say again, is the only way they've been beaten so far this season.
3 games into the season.
It's a really good basketball team, man. Like, and it's just there's not ways that you can spin that other than they're really good at playing the game of basketball, and they believe so much in themselves and one another that they just feel like. I watched KD Johnson's reaction after that second steal going into the half, and it basically was like, "Yep, it's about to be bad for y'all going forward." Like, he's like, "Yep, that's it. We woke up. It's over." Like, the mentality was like, "Nah, we're not about to lose. Like, I feel you and everything, but y'all about to take this L, and there's nothing you can do to stop." Like, you could see it in his eyes that he was like, it's about to be bad for y'all for the next 20 minutes of this.
I'll tell you what, Bruce Pearl said in the preseason or early in the season that this was his most talented team ever. If he says that about next year's team, I'm putting $1,000 on Auburn to win it all immediately. I'm just not going to wait. I'm just going to place the bet in the preseason, right? Like, if he says next year's team is his most talented team, I think that'll be saying something after this, because he doesn't like to pay lip service. I think he'll tell us like it is. Hey guys, we got work to do. We're not.
Yeah, he said that last year. He knew that this team had potential, but it wasn't there, right?
Yeah,
he knew for a fact. And you said this earlier, like the difference between this year's team and the 2019 team, or really any of the other Bruce Pearl coach teams for Auburn, is the inside presence defensively. Like, we've always had good guard play. We've always had that forward, that stretch 4 that could do something, right? Like that front court player that was versatile. but we haven't had the defensive anchor of Walker Kessler. And that's essentially, I think, the difference between us being a good and dangerous team and us being a great championship level team is the fact that we can shoot it from the outside with anybody. Right. We can defend 1 through 5 now. And even if you have good penetrating guards or good bigs down low, we've got erasers on the back end. Like, there's just, if we rebounded better, we would be blowing teams out by like 60.
Facts. Facts. Guys, let's go ahead and talk real quick. Let's give our University Ace Hardware tools to the game.
The University Ace Hardware tools to the game.
My University Ace Hardware tools to the game. I mentioned it pretty much in the Bama game, but how about those free throw shooting? How about it? Auburn was 14 of 16, 87%. And it almost seems like when Auburn absolutely needs to hit their free throws, we're good. But if we're in control of the game, we will get a little laxed. But we went 14 of 16, and Auburn Dad talked a lot about the fact that we were not getting calls. I think that was a part of it because I think we shot our first free throws. It was like 20-some seconds left in the first half. Like, we had went almost the entire half without going to the line. And I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that Ole Miss's offense started struggling down the latter part of the first half, which allowed us to get on the fast break because we didn't have any fast break points as well either because we were in half court sets because Ole Miss couldn't miss early on in the game. And I think the correlation between fast break points, free throw shooting, once they begin to come back down to earth, now we started getting those calls because the game had started changing a bit. So for me, once we were able to get to the line, slow down Ole Miss to where they're not running back and forth, just jacking up shots and hitting them, I think that the game really began to change and we started hitting those free throws as well. Ike, what was yours?
Yeah, for me, the University Ace Hardware tool to the game was adjustments. I don't know whether to attribute that to the coach saying, this is how we're going to attack this press that Ole Miss is doing, if it was a sight read by some players. But when they started getting into the pick and roll action and then Wendell Green was coming downhill aggressively off of that, that changed how Ole Miss had to defend. They couldn't defend the same way anymore because it was too difficult to cover that pick and roll so high out and stop him from getting into the lane. I mean, it was like 2 or 3 times in a row. He just went down there and threw a lob to somebody. Like, it was just like, and so what they had to start doing then is when they showed high, the big man had to sink down to try to get on the lob. And then Wendell was just open for medium range thing, or he would just continue his drive all the way to the lane. And then he would find some sort of way to break down. It just changed the complexion of how Ole Miss had to defend. And I think that was offensively the momentum shift that allowed us to really just shake up what Ole Miss was doing. So that's a tool. That adjustment to me was the tool to the game.
IG.
My University Ace Hardware tool to the game is just mental toughness, right? Like, you're on the road in a hostile environment, you're a top 5 team, and everybody wants to beat you. And when they were up 14 in the first half, their crowd was hype. And, the preppies were fist pumping on the sideline and they thought they had us. Yeah. And this team just never looked shook. I saw people on Twitter and people were just kind of like, oh, I'm worried. I was like, actually, when you look at this is not a bad game for us so far. They've gotten us used to adjustments. Right now, we watched a whole season of football, and what did we bemoan? Halftime adjustments. Right. We've come to expect that with this team. Right. So not only did we adjust to how they were defending us, but we adjusted how we were defending them. And I just couldn't. I was watching. I was like, listen, Bruce isn't going to let them keep shooting these 3-pointers like this. They're going to start to run them off that 3-point line some. And then Kessler starts to have an impact on the game down low once they couldn't just jack up threes. Now, if they were going to jack up threes, there were going to be bad shots. And if a team is going to beat you taking bad shots, I think you just kind of live with that.
Yeah.
Right. However, it just was the mental toughness of this team. I thought it wasn't a great statistical game for him, but I thought that KD Johnson showed why he is important to this team with some key plays down the stretch. Just attitude and, toughness and just a short memory, man. He's got ice in his veins. He just doesn't care how many shots he's missed. He's taking them because let me tell you, he took some questionable shots there from 3 in that second half. But drove to the lane, created contact, hit some free throws. He just did some things that you just can't. They're just invaluable to a team. And this team believes that they can win. They believe. It looked like they believed that they were going to come back. Brian talked about the end of the first half, right? And you hear the announcers talking about it. They're talking about these next 3 minutes are super important for Ole Miss,
right?
Not for Auburn,
right?
For Ole Miss. Because they understand what we are. We're not going to stay down. It's very unlikely that you're going to run us off the court, even in your own house. And I think that says a lot that, for the mentality of this team and how they're viewed and how they portray themselves and how they carry themselves, that, when the chips are down, it's not over. It's not ever over. Down by 14, won by 9. Right? Come on, man. That's a 23-point swing from first half to the end of the game. And on the road with a top 5 target on your back. Watch what this team is made of over these next few games. They will undoubtedly be the number 2 team, at least in the country, with a great argument for number 1. And it's only going to get tougher from here. And having it up here, because the talent is not the issue. We're physical, right? We've got shooters. We've got inside guys. We've got talent. This is Bruce Pearl's most talented team ever. So we're not sitting here talking about whether we have the capacity to do. We're talking about will we do? And that starts up here. So for me, it's just winner's mentality, man. These guys are killers. I love it.
B. Will, before we get to the giveaway, man, what was your tool to the game?
It was Walker Kessler. I don't have a really cool analogy for something you find in the hardware store, but my ace, my university ace tool to the game was Walker Kessler, unless he's on the shelves in there and we just don't know it. If he was, other teams would be buying him off the rack. So I still haven't seen to this day a big who could be as effective defensively and on offense, running with that pick and roll game, man, being able to catch quickly, finish sure-handedly, catch, gather sure-handedly. Like that's such an underrated part, man. The bigger humans get, the less coordinated they are usually. But he's a big dude, man. But I mean, I know he stepped out there and taken that 3 a couple times in the last few weeks, and he's hitting a couple. He hadn't hit a lot, but I'm pretty sure he can. Like he's hit it, he's drained a few, but I don't mind him taking that shot because he's earned the right to take that shot from what he's doing. Discipline in the pick and roll, discipline down in the paint when he's defending. I still don't think we have the ability to do what we did. That's a 21-point swing, down 14, up 9. We can't do that without him erasing shots in the paint for the entire second half. Walker Kessler, to this point, in my opinion, is the season MVP for Auburn basketball.
Season MVP. All right.
I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at it, especially how tough games get when he's out. It says a lot of what we miss. Cleveland Brown, worst best case scenario. How many L's does Auburn see in conference play going forward?
There's a lot of factors in that.
I see 2 more.
I was gonna say 2 more. Yeah.
I see 2 more. I see 2 more L's.
I mean, you're saying that's the worst case scenario is 2 losses?
Yeah, well, is that best case? Yeah. Is that best case or best case? We go undefeated, obviously, but what's the worst case?
Yeah, I think it's 2 more L's the way this team's playing. Honestly, I think their floor is really high.
So on the road to LSU, on the road to Kentucky,
don't matter where we're playing. Don't matter where we're
playing. We've got to play Kentucky.
We got to play Tennessee.
Got to get LSU again. We've got
those are your 2 losses.
Again. We've got Bama being a grudge. I don't think Bama being bad means anything in that game. Like I think
because it's here. I think it does.
But yeah,
I think their best shot was there.
It was there. Yeah,
because it doesn't matter where we are, but for them to play their best game, they needed to be at home.
I think they felt embarrassed in that first game, and they're gonna want to get back. Like, and I'm not saying I think
I think the crane kick. I think they're going to try to play out of their minds. I'm not saying they beat us
again. I'm not the potential. Listen, we have the potential to beat anybody on our schedule. So this is not me saying, oh, we could lose this game because they're better than us. Like that, any given night in basketball, somebody can get hot and it can be different. The reason why Bama is dangerous is because they shoot the three so well at times. If they come in lights out at three. Because they had the potential to do it, they can beat anybody.
They're dangerous.
They can hit 23s that game, and it's a whole different ball game.
I don't know, man.
I agree.
Again, I'm talking about potential. I ain't talking about what they definitely will do. Like to just say, oh, they ain't going to.
You still got A&M. Some people mention A&M,
right?
Yeah,
A&M is better than they're sneakily better than anybody expected. They've been playing.
So I mean, I think 4 is probably worst case scenario for me. 4 losses.
4 losses total.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay,
no,
so
four additional losses, I think, for 5 total in the season would be worst case scenario for me.
I would agree with that. I was thinking like
that's not an unreasonable statement.
No,
right? Like,
no.
Yeah,
I think losing 5 games in the regular season in basketball is still a great season.
Yeah, it's great. I just think this is going to be I think this is going to be an all-time season.
We don't play LSU on the road. Interesting.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, he's right. He's right. We don't go to LSU.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
We don't go to LSU.
Well, there you go.
And we don't play Kentucky on the road.
Is it Florida that we get again then? I know we play South Carolina.
We play South Carolina again. We play Georgia twice. I looked at this the other day. We get Georgia twice. Schedule.
So we Kentucky, Missouri, we got to play. We got the Oklahoma game. We got Bama again, Georgia,
We only played Tennessee once. We played Florida twice.
It's okay. Florida's the other one. And then Tennessee. So Tennessee's the other team that is potentially dangerous on our schedule, really. We do play Ole Miss again.
Tennessee's not 100%, right?
I don't know where they'll be when we play them, though.
Yeah. That's my point. I know they're not been looking strong, but I don't think they've been 100%. They're kind of like Ole Miss right now, down some people. So
they just got beat by 30.
We go to Florida. Then we play Texas A&M, and we go to Tennessee. Those are 3 potentially trappish games. Vanderbilt is actually a trap game. They're sneaky decent this year.
Yeah. The SEC is tough this year. I mean, again, my prediction is just how good I think we are. Right?
Sure. Like, I'm not. My argument is definitely not that we could beat every single team on our schedule. Like, there's not a team that's on this schedule where I'm like, I don't know if we could beat them. Like, we could beat all of them. Kentucky's probably the best team left on our schedule, though.
I just have to believe that we're going to see better. The way this team has been trending, that we're going to see better basketball over this last half, and that's what I'm accounting for. In my mind, there's no way this team doesn't continue to improve. Right. And in past years, what we've seen is it's taken until about midseason, and then we take that one L that kind of catapults us forward. That's what happened in 2019. Right. Where we lost to Kentucky at home. And then after that, they just went on an epic run. Right. I just don't think they need that loss this year to do that. Right. Like, yes. So that's why I'm saying I think the floor is super high for a team like this that plays together, where anybody can step up on any given night and just be player of the game. It could be Kessler, it could be KD, it could be Jabari, it could be Wendell, it could be Zep Jasper, right? Like, and then you have all these crazy role players. Jalen Williams has been sneaky good this year in spot duty. Cambridge on any given night where he just kind of comes out and just gives you energy and dunks and defense, and I
just want him to hit open shots more. Cambridge, man. Just like he gets so many opportunities to like swing momentum with 3-pointers that he just flat out,
and he gets beautiful look, amazing.
He does, man. I'm telling you, if he's making that shot, God, you just don't get a break. You don't get a break with this team. Yeah. So I'm like, anyway.
Berman's minutes have gone down the last couple of games.
He has.
I wonder what's up with that.
His and Moore's.
Alan Flanagan coming back into the rotation has cut. Moore hadn't seen the floor in the last couple of games.
Yeah, for a little bit, for a very little bit.
But yeah, Berman and Moore have definitely had a lot. And then, but the reason I think Berman and Moore were even playing was that one game where Cambridge was out, right? Like, so Cambridge was out of game, so they got some minutes in there. But yeah, with Flanagan being back in the rotation, we asked that question earlier. When Flanagan gets back, how does that change the guard rotation? There's your answer right there. You don't see Chris Moore at the 3, and you don't see Berman coming in at the 2. Yeah. Flanagan's taking both of those rotational minutes away from those guys for good reason, though. Flanagan's a better ball handler. He's not as consistent a shooter as Berman, but he's a better defender. Sure. And he can hit the 3. He gets run off. Like, I think he's reluctant to shoot it for whatever reason. But
he has such an interesting jumper, though, when he shoots the 3.
It's just form's ugly. But
you said it. About it. Yeah, I was being nice, but yeah.
It's forms. I hate it. But listen, if he makes shots or whatever, I don't care. But he's a more athletic guy, and I thought it was going to be Cambridge whose minutes were suffering, and it turns out to be he's just absorbing those minutes from Berman and Moore. So
which I'm so on that, but I gotta defer. We gotta defer to Bruce's his gut feeling on what these guys can contribute down the stretch. If it makes more sense to empower Cambridge and invest that time in Cambridge, then hey, Bruce is the dude. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I just like Cambridge for me. Like, I understand why he's getting those minutes because. Looking at the backdoor lobs that he catches are momentum swings, and who else? I mean, Simo might be able to get up and get a couple of those, but he ain't got hops like Cambridge does.
Right.
And then Cambridge, he's a good energy guy. He's not the best off the ball defender, but on the ball, he plays pretty well defensively. Yeah. So I get, his athleticism is the reason why he's getting more minutes over, especially someone like Berman, no disrespect to him, but he's just not the most athletic guy out there.
Right.
And it seems like he feels the pressure a little bit more than other guys when people are crowding him. And so he gets run off of his shot a little bit too easily, or he's rushing it when he's getting opportunities to get out there. And then he missed a couple of point blank layups a couple of times. I'm just like, what is that? And that's honestly the reason why, what's the backup center's name? Somebody help me.
Cardwell.
That's the reason why Cardwell doesn't get more minutes. Because his ability to finish around the rim is just suspect.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. What is fortunate is it's giveaway time, guys. Hashtag get your weight up. My G says it's cold outside, so we're gonna give you guys a hoodie so you can prepare yourself. Winter is here. It's no longer coming. It's here. It's cold. Hashtag get your weight up in the comments so you can enter to win. Ike, how we looking?
We are not quite at 100, but hey, it's not terrible for a cold Sunday afternoon. We're gonna see if any of these other people want to jump in real quick. We're at 88. I'll give y'all another 10 seconds and I'll hit the button here.
You definitely want this hoodie. Chase. I don't know if he's in the comments today. I haven't seen him over at Infinite Auburn. Go check Chase out. He's got a great YouTube channel there. He won a hoodie and posted a really nice picture on Twitter of him in his hoodie. The fit looks good. This is 100% Egyptian cotton, guys. So you definitely want this hoodie.
It's not Egyptian cotton. I don't want you guys getting the hoodie and thinking this.
Yes, don't listen to him. It is. It is. So we enjoy giving. This is my favorite thing that we do is give things away. I see my sister here in the comments. Maybe she'll win. Maybe she'll win something.
Nah, she's not gonna win because she doesn't respond to my messages when I
shade. Yeah, I love the petty.
I told her happy birthday the other day. It's her birthday towards the end of the year. She didn't respond back.
She'll call us either, honestly.
All right, see, Pedal's messing up.
Really? Yeah, if I'm hanging off a cliff and I got one call, I'm like, Mom, can't call Pedal. She ain't coming, bro. She'll return your call next year.
Shameful. All right, let's get to it. Let me hit this button. We're over 100 now. Yeah, let's do it.
Who we got?
It'd be funny after all this, she did win.
I know, right?
Bayline man. All right.
Look at Pedal. Look at Pedal now. Now that we're ashamed of. Now that we're ashamed of. Look at her.
Also, now you can respond. My sister is also an Auburn graduate, so she is an Auburn alum, went to school with all of us. Very proud of her. She's got a beautiful family who.
I don't want to hear this nonsense, Pedal. Don't be giving me excuses.
I'm not on Facebook. Yeah,
Lies.
that's true. That's true. She is very bad with social media.
I don't care.
Anyway, Bayline man, listen, we need to see you in the comments. Oh, there he is.
Oh,
he ain't gone. He ain't gone.
And I ain't gone.
All right, you're here. So Business at the War Report. That's businessatthewarreport.com. Hit us up. Send us your hoodie size and your mailing address so we can get that hoodie right out to you. Do not forget your hoodie size. People, we are busy here. I do not send follow-up emails. I just send you whatever size I feel like you are based on the amount of letters that are in your YouTube name. That's it. That's all I'm going to do. Okay. It's a weird formula, but that's what you get.
Okay. All right. let's transition on to the gridiron. A lot has been happening in terms of portal. And we, of course, we've been hit just like every other program has been hit with the portal news. The latest is that one of our edge guys has headed off, and let's just give a list of who all has entered the portal from Auburn. This is kind of where we are right now. The latest is Romello Height. Of course, Daniel Foster Allen. He also was on the D line. He entered the portal, I think, last week as well. And we see the schools.
Actually, Lee Hunter just put his name in the portal.
No way.
So he just did
freshman defensive lineman Lee Hunter has entered the transfer portal according to On3.
Oh no, that I'm actually sad about that one.
Yeah. That's and again, I wonder if this is part of just the fact that, hey, we have our D-line guy, our D-line coach is just not around. If that's playing a factor in it or not, because I know Mason would have to be working overtime, just keeping those guys engaged, keeping those guys on board. But he could pull an Eric Reed Jr. and withdraw his name. Who knows? So here's a list, and I know we kind of talked about whether or not are we disappointed with what we're seeing. What are our thoughts so far about guys who've entered the portal? Pretty sure Lee Hunter is a big one because we had high hopes for him. Thoughts, fellas?
This is not unusual. Now, listen, you guys said it. I wasn't totally on board with this statement, but Brian and Ike were pretty adamant after the championship game. Watch what happens to Bama and Georgia as far as this portal is concerned, right? I think Lee Hunter will make our 14th player that's entered the portal since August, right? Well, Bama has now had 13 players enter the portal since November, right? And people are this is the new college football. We cannot flip out about this. This is going to happen, right? Guys are going to enter the portal. They're going to go looking for better fits elsewhere. They have less incentive to stick it out now.
Right.
And particularly with a guy like Eason, who his leaving hurts.
Yeah.
It hurts this team, in a lot of ways. So maybe depending on who they get in here at D-line coach, it may be able to sway them back. Maybe that's part of the recruiting process now, but I'm not particularly surprised by this because it seems pretty par for the course based on what we're seeing everywhere else, right? Like everybody's got like over 10 guys in the portal at this point. This is what it is.
JT Martin, before I get to you guys to get your thoughts, JT Martin says my wife says that hoodie is comfortable AF.
Hey,
I've been in the field, haven't had a chance to wear it and take a pic yet. Please do. When you wear it, please take a picture. And then if you're on Twitter, add us, man, so we can definitely see that, man. I definitely look forward to wearing mine soon. Mine's coming in the mail. So, B. Will, your thoughts on the portal news, Lee Hunter, anyone else outside? Of course, we talk pretty extensively about other guys on this list, but what are your thoughts so far? And should we panic? Is this just the new, as Mike G said, is this college football the latest? This is the new college football that we got to get acclimated to?
It is what college football is now. This is what it is. I know we're used to seeing guys come in, to hearing about them, how they're practicing. If they don't make the field this year, next year, we're looking for information about how they're improving. And if they haven't quite made it on the field, and we start asking questions, but really they just kind of ended up being these stalwart. I'm all for Auburn. I love it here. I'm a graduate, and it's a good story. And then they go on to the next level, maybe, or maybe not. But I think it's both good for the students, and it can be bad for the students as well. It's good when a guy can go from second team, be a backup to be a starter somewhere else, get reps, play, get some live game action, show what you can do. And even though I don't know if it's happened outside of some high profile quarterbacks, I think we should see maybe in the next few years a guys who was buried on the depth chart at some super powerhouse school, because that's a lot of what we're seeing leave Bama is guys who weren't going to crack the starting lineup. They're going through the process and they're staying faithful. And I know Mike was really big on like, hey, look at Bama, man, both just stick around and they just stay. And well, not anymore. People want to play, man. They want to play. So it's good if you can go somewhere else and play. I think what people are going to find out is that if you're running from the competition of a starting job, if you are running from the challenge of being the best you can be each week, accepting coaching, or you want a coach who doesn't ride you so hard, okay, good luck. You can go to a situation that's not going to be as demanding, but that doesn't mean that you're going to go and play your best football there. So we have yet to see how that's going to play out as all of these moves get made. I think this is probably the busiest transfer offseason by far. I mean, this is really the third or fourth season we've been doing this, but the first time that people can leave without impunity. So
that's the difference.
Right.
That's the difference. You can transfer this year and you can play immediately. So it's a different ball game.
Right. So we will see how these moves shake out once guys get to where they're going to go. Like, for example, we saw a Demetrius Robertson leave Georgia, and he wouldn't have cracked that starting lineup at Georgia this year. He played here. I don't know if it did much for his stock to play here because he was, okay. He wasn't an all-world player for us. But where it's going to hurt them is when they don't get challenged where they're at, they're going where they're comfortable. And some of that is relationship with coaches. But let's be clear. A lot of people get recruited by coaches to schools who, when coaches leave, they want out. Almost Oregon has gotten just massacred with transfers, even with guys. And this is probably what's more telltale. We knew that when they lost their coach that they would lose some players. The guy who was as productive or more productive at Oregon this season than Tank was for us left. The running back. I can't remember his name, but he had like 1,200 yards and double-digit touchdowns this season for Oregon. Like, why would you leave, dude? You're going to get reps. You are going to be playing. It's not just the coaches, it's the position coaches. It is starting spots, and it's a little different for everybody. But I am worried. I think I saw a little stat by the Rivals Transfer Tracker Twitter account, and they were saying that there are something like 1,300 people have gotten to the portal over the last 12 months, and only like 400 of them have gone somewhere. So what is going to happen to these people who don't have a better spot? They don't have all these people sending them offers once they jump in the portal. I think it's possible that for that reason, we're going to have, Eric Reed was the first one. Not everybody's leaving. People are jumping out there. What they're doing is putting their toe in the water to see if they get some offers, to see who comes to court them.
That's a risky game.
It really is, because they can offer your scholarship to somebody else, and
that's a risky game, right? Yeah, I mean, you're telling the coaches you're not all in, and you might come back to an empty locker, right? Like I wonder what the rules around that are, right? Like
it's about how many scholarships the team still has left. If they've given your scholarship spot, like If
well, that's
if
my
Lee
question.
Hunter leaves and we go get another guy on the D line and hand him that scholarship, even if he wanted to come back, they don't have room for him.
Yeah, I guess that's my question is, once you enter the portal, is your scholarship immediately forfeit? Or is it still last the remainder of the semester?
Clearly, I mean, I just look at Eric Reed's situation, right? I don't know. I guess it just depends. I guess it just depends.
We got to look into that, because that would be my question is that, are you, because let's say you are enrolled this semester, but you're entering the portal, but you're not playing somewhere until you're, what I mean? Like transfers, like you can announce that you're going to transfer as a graduate transfer. However, you got one more spring left at the school that you're at to graduate. And so your scholarship is still active until the end of that spring. And I just wonder what the rules around that are. So, like, do they have to guarantee your spot until you enroll someplace else? Or at what point can the school say, okay, this scholarship is off our books?
I don't know. That's a good question. We'll have to ask.
Well, the scholarship commitment lasts through the end of that school academic period, right? So, like, it's not like you're going to just stop paying your bills, before the end of that semester, quarter, whatever it is, right? So I think that it's fully likely that if you enter your name in the portal, they're just not counting your scholarship towards next year. So
Jeremy Redding says scholars are set annually, so it doesn't have to be re-upped in the fall.
Okay, yeah. So I guess that's it, right? That's our answer. Is it does come down to do they get other athletes from the portal,
right,
that can fill those spots, right? Because after signing day, it's not kids from high school. There have to be other portal athletes taking those scholarships,
right,
at this point, right? That's mostly what it's going to be. So if they fill out, great. If not, I know that Auburn got some scholarships spots back because of the amount of the guys. If you exceed 7 guys in the portal or whatever, you get some of those scholarships back to count back to a previous class. So it'd just be interesting to see, I just think it's a risky roll of the dice for any player, right?
Yeah, just decide, I don't know where I'm going yet, or I don't have a definitive spot, or I am definitely not staying here, so it doesn't matter. I'm just going to leave. If you're just like, well, let me see if somebody else want me,
well, let's keep this in mind as well. Now that NIL is really a thing. And also to go with that, I don't think the backdoor under the table NIL has stopped.
Right.
All right. I mean, NIL lets businesses and local community and alum kind of foot the bill for recruiting, but I don't think the under the table stuff that got guys to different places has ceased. So what may be happening is guys are jumping in there to, even if they come back, I'm gonna let you re-recruit me. No,
but that's for players that have cachet and, like, I mean,
you think it has cachet, but if the D-line coach says no, we need this dude, he's gonna go to the coach and say, we need this dude back.
I don't know, man.
Do what it takes to make it happen.
But to Mike G's point, it's risky. It's very risky for you to do that, because you're going to find out just how much those coaches really think about you and how important they think you are.
I just think there's only a handful of players that have the type of a pull or clout to be able to pull that off like that when you start talking about NIL and stuff. Most of these guys entering the portal are, I mean, I don't want to say nobodies, but like a vast majority of these players are.
There are very few portal transfers that got significant minutes the previous year, so you know what you're getting, right? Like if they got significant minutes, they're trying to move up from a lower conference, junior college, something like that. But it's very rare that you're going to get a Power 5 transfer that also played significant minutes that isn't also coming with a bunch of headaches.
Right. Or highly touted enough that it makes sense, like the kid from Ohio State, Ewers or whatever. Right. Like, I mean, he got $1 million NID. He hadn't played it down yet, I don't think.
Right. He might end up being I was gonna say he might not end up being as good as everybody thinks he's going to be. And then it was worth nothing.
Yeah, so only a few players I think that will be pulling that kind of weight, but it's the athlete. This is another thing that they have to manage. Now, I'll tell you this: we had a certain former player's mom that jumped all over me on on social media because I suggested that this is another thing that the coaches are going to have to manage, right? When it comes to NIL and focus on the game. And, her particular feeling was, why are we talking about focus? The players deserve to be paid. And I'm just like, I didn't say that they didn't. I'm just saying this adds a level of distraction for the individual and the team that players have not had to deal with before. They all just suddenly became small business owners. Right. And now you not only have to manage classes and, and football practice and study hall, but now you have financial business commitments that you have to keep. You have interviews that you have to do. You cannot get out of. Not optional. Right. You signed a deal. Right. You have speaking engagements for some of them. You have these appearances that you have to make. You have responsibilities now because of NIL. Outside of the normal student athlete or the traditional student athlete responsibilities. So this is a gamble on every level for a lot of these kids to enter their name into the portal. I'll tell you, I know it's not football, but I've seen a lot of kids talk about the kid that left us in basketball, Powell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That went to Tennessee. Yeah. Now he's getting minutes up there. Certainly he's playing, but look at this team now, the gamble that he took, he left a tourney team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a team that he probably would have played significant minutes.
On, yeah, right. Sure. Berman probably stays on the bench, right? If Powell stays. And
we probably don't pick up Wendell Green in the portal or KD Johnson. One of those two guys is not here. Or Jasper. Like one of the three guards we picked up in the offseason isn't here if he stays, right?
Mm-hmm. So he made a bet on himself. He entered in the portal. Somebody wanted him enough, right, that he went someplace and he's getting a decent amount of minutes there, but his production is paltry, right? And they're an iffy team at the end of the day. So I don't envy this part of it for them, right? The portal is such a hard decision for a lot of these kids to decide, hey, where am I going to play my next, what school gives me the best opportunity to realize my dream of even having a chance to make it to the next level.
Right.
It's very difficult. What coach can I commit to that's actually going to keep their promises this time?
Yeah.
Right. Or what situation is best for me?
That's something, I mean, we talk about this and I know that it bothers a lot of fans to hear that players don't want to be on our team anymore because we chose to come to Auburn, right? We still love Auburn, having gone through it as students and for many of us having graduated. But to hear that somebody just doesn't want to be at the school that I love, like that, I understand why you take that a little personally, especially when it's somebody as a player that you really liked, which is what I think is probably at the root of a lot of people's resentment towards us about saying, hey, Bo Nix might leave. He would never leave. Listen, man, now it's business. I get it. You love Auburn and he loved Auburn, but guys are going to leave us. Even guys that you love being here that said they loved being here. They don't love being here as much as they love maximizing their personal potential. So we got to let that go. We have to let go of this idea that people are just coming here for this connection to the community and the university. That's not it anymore. And we have to all get our minds wrapped around that and not take it so personal. So listen, if Lee Hunter had a really good connection with Coach Eason, I get it, man. I don't want to show up to work for somebody that right now I don't know and wasn't the reason I came here. Now Lee Hunter came here before Coach Eason was here. So,
but the relationship, right. I mean,
man.
Yeah. Well, guys, I think we're at a good point to wrap up. Hour and a half. We can continue to talk.
Don't see
what? Oh, that's right.
Again.
Mike G, tell people where you can
Well, we are the War Report on YouTube.
Hey man,
Facebook.
Let this man get his shine, bro. Let this man get his... I got you, B. I got you, man. B Will won the daggone thing, man. Dang, bro. Come on, man.
You won, man. 27, right?
Yep. Congratulations, B Will. You have some words. You have some words. Anything you want to say? Speech.
Yes,
what you got? What you got? B Will.
Put me. So I want to see y'all's faces.
What, babe?
Hold on.
You know what?
I thought I heard my wife.
Thank you, wife.
I thought I heard my baby
you.
calling me.
Acknowledge your husband. Let me talk to y'all.
Oh man.
Mike G with your emotional locker room speeches every week. You lost. Your rah-rah doesn't help you make good picks, does it, son?
Oh gosh.
Ike, analytical, prudent, always picking based on the facts, but football is more than facts and film. You are correct on all that stuff you see, but I see what they don't see. I see what isn't there to be seen. I make the picks and the calls before they happen. Now, this is my apology to everybody on Betting with B Will this season. We started off all right. We tailed off. And honestly, it was more because I didn't have time to put the stuff together or even do the research that would help me stay on top with Betting with B Will. What Ike's doing with PrizePicks, we're going to do it even better with Betting with B Will come up the next football season.
No, you can't do anything better than what I do at PrizePicks. Sorry.
No, we're going to do better Betting with B Will this football season.
Yeah.
So it still won't be better than what I'm doing at PrizePicks.
Hey man, can I have my moment? Can I?
You took a shot at me. I got
moment. That wasn't a shot.
You was taking a shot.
Anyway, I'm glad y'all all stuck with me. Y'all I didn't get to. We lost to Jimbo this season. It was rough. We lost to Jimbo. He beat Alabama, so that was rough for me. And now Kirby has gotten off the snide and beaten Saban, and so I've lost a little momentum with the hate. So this helps out. This helps out a little bit, knowing that I outpicked all of you, and I will do so again next season by making the riskiest picks early in the season.
I was about to snort too.
Y'all see that?
My bad. I hit the button on accident. My bad, bro.
I'm done, man. y'all wait till y'all win something. I'm gonna go hamburger. I'm gonna play some wild, disrespectful audio clips in the background, some air horns over you. It's cool. It's coming.
Oh yeah. Listen, the picks were fun. The picks were fun this season.
Congratulations, B.
Congratulations. Yeah.
In all seriousness, congratulations, bro.
Yeah, man. Congrats,
man.
Yeah, congrats, man.
He had a good season picking. As the resident betting expert, it would be a shame if you did not win. But yes, this was an interesting season to make picks weekly, and as competitive with 13 out of 14 teams making bowl games. I think that kind of highlighted how difficult it would be to go 96-27 and just picking SEC games. There were razor thin margins a lot of weeks. There were a lot of injuries that affected the outcomes of games. A lot of teams who started with certain quarterbacks did not end with those quarterbacks. I mean, it was all out bedlam this season with how the SEC closed out. So, yes.
And LSU was terrible, just like we thought they would be.
Oh, my God. They let me down so much. They came through at the end, though. I picked them in the end to make that bowl game, and they won that game. So, at the end of the day.
Got blasted.
No, they didn't.
In the bowl game, yes, they did.
Not in the bowl game, to make the bowl game.
Make the bowl game.
Yeah,
no, you did, but I'm saying in that bowl game, they embarrassed us. But that's
yeah, I mean, it was just
we lost two. I can't talk about
it. We lost.
We didn't lose.
Football's over. Football's over.
So, it's going to be interesting. I can't wait to get back at this next season. I think there are going to be even more compelling storylines next season. In our conference, certainly, and in our division. So there is the off chance that next year might be the last year that the conference is as we know it right now.
Yeah.
So, we may be blowing everything up after next year. So next year will be a kind of a special season in the SEC before Oklahoma and Texas possibly join. I know there's a chance they may not come through till 2025, but there is another chance that they may just pay the exit fees to make it happen earlier. So we'll see what happens there.
Hey, Ken Willis, you understand what's going on, bro. You understand what's going on.
Oh my God.
These are indeed the facts.
Facts and all. B Will takes on Stephen A. Smith on Monday.
They don't know what he's talking about. Anything except the sport he loves, which is basketball, and even then he don't.
Even then, though, listen, I don't talk too much shade to Stephen A., but he just be like screaming at the camera.
Hey, It's just, give the people what they want, man. Give the people what they want.
Wild stuff, man. Stephen A. I used to be a fan. I ain't gonna say I'm not a fan no more, but I ain't like no advocate for him like I used to be. I'm like, bro, you just jumping out the window a little too often for me now, bro.
Skip used to keep him in check. I stopped liking Stephen A. after Skip left, and I didn't like Skip, but like I just felt it was a good balance.
They were the perfect balance.
Yeah. I don't know. Max. I don't know about Max.
I like Max. I just never liked him with Stephen A.
For that format, what they want is quick debate, and that's terrible because he's too long-winded and he has to explain everything away. It's not for that show. Not for that show.
Right. I think it was a like Skip would say something ridiculous. Stephen A. would get emotional, and that was just primetime TV. But when you put an analytical person like Max,
works well with him.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So it's like an analytical person in any of these scenarios does not work without the Skip or Stephen A. They were just the perfect duo. So anyway, my G. Okay, be Will. Hold on. Mike, be Will. Are we good, or is there anything else you'd like to say?
I mean, I had to fight y'all 2 shows in a row to get my spot.
Well, the last one we had more stuff we had to talk about. This one, I don't know. We was ready and they just forgot. I guess I don't know. I was ready to let you get your speech on, man. Then your speech got ridiculous, and I got tired of listening to it.
So. I got to win next year. I'm going over the top. And we got a place. We have to set something at stake because we didn't this year. We just said we were going to pick. There's got to be something for the winner next year. Let's keep that in mind.
Okay.
Understood. For sure. Well, we're gonna give you the Jimbo T-shirt. I thought that's what we talked about offline.
Y'all never made it, man. I was waiting for y'all
it's coming. It will be made. It will be made. It will be made, and you will wear it on air. A whole episode. I will be paid.
Don't you worry.
I wear lots of shirts. I don't mind.
Yeah.
Mike G, take us out, bro.
No, listen. Become a patron. Join more of this. Help us fund this foolishness you just saw. $5.99 a month. Hit the join button. We are having a great time here. We enjoy our community. You guys, this $5.99 a month, this basic monthly contribution helps keep us financially viable. It does take time and money to produce these shows every week, along with the other segments that you guys see. We are credentialed media with the university, so we're bringing you guys press conferences and other information that take time to collect and upload and edit and do the things that we do. So become a patron level member. Besides just supporting our content, you do get exclusive content in return. So become a patron today. We are partnered with the Lee County Humane Society to hashtag Save All the Puppies. Go to the About section of our YouTube channel. Click that link. 50 cents on every dollar you donate will go to them to help them hashtag Save All the Puppies, which is the good that we've chosen to put back into the world. Congratulations to our raffle winner today, Bayline Man, I think it was. This is brought to you by GWT2 Energy. That's Walt Taylor. Go check him out for all your restaurant consulting needs. If you own a restaurant, Walt can help you. But we enjoy giving things away. So congratulations to our winner today. Guys, visit our merch store. We have a merch store. So if you didn't win the hoodie, you can just go buy one. You found this link in the About section of our YouTube channel as well. This is a great way to support our content. You can buy everything that you see here that we give away. We're adding more stuff to that seasonally. So Ike works on all that stuff. Appreciate you guys for doing that. Check us out on podcasts. We're on every single podcast platform. So no matter where you listen to your podcast, the War Report is there. That's Apple, Spotify, Podbean, SoundCloud. We are there bringing you guys the hot stuff. And also we're adding new podcast content that will be exclusive only to podcasts. So check us out. I think we're on Amazon podcast too as well, aren't we? B? We on Amazon?
You're on Amazon Music, yeah. They got podcasts on there. You can find them on there.
Yeah, check us out on the Amazons. And then our brand new recent sponsor, PrizePicks. Check us out at PrizePicks, PrizePicks.com. You can click this. You'll find this link in the description of every video that we put out. Right? If you click the link, the bonus code will autofill. But it's really important that they know that you came over from the War Report. So if you don't click that link, please use code RAPPORT so they know you came over from us follow along with Ike and sometimes myself as we make these picks before every single basketball game. I think Georgia is our next game, so we'll do something for that where we'll make some picks and try to win some money. You guys can follow along with us, place an entry, and have some fun while you watch. So it's a great year to place some props on Auburn basketball. They're making it really fun over there at PrizePicks. 100% legal in the state of Alabama and Georgia. So if you live in the Southeast, you can have fun doing this with us and not worry about the legalities of such. PrizePicks is a great company. We also have some of our listeners who just started jobs with PrizePicks. So when we did our first segment, I got some text messages saying, hey, so happy you guys are sponsored by PrizePicks now. Support us by supporting our sponsors, guys. Register for an account. It doesn't matter if you place one entry or 10. Right. Just the act of signing up every week, having a few of you guys sign up for these accounts helps us. So, if you can't become a Patreon member or you can't buy merch, there's always something that you can do to help us. So support us by supporting our sponsors. That's prizepicks.com
for sure.
And guys, you have asked for it in this basketball season, and we are going to deliver it moving forward on our weekend tailgates. What did we see will return. All right, guys. But we just got to actually start paying attention to what's actually happening outside of Auburn, because honestly, I can't speak for the other three guys. Nothing else is interesting to me outside of Auburn. It starts and ends with Auburn to me. But you've asked, we'll tell you what we saw.
It doesn't just have to be basketball, though. I mean, it could be mostly basketball, but there's a really, really big transfer move, man. Like that's not Auburn related. We could see a lot of things, you know what I mean? Yeah,
that's true. That's true. It's coming back. You just need to know that. And guys, we want to thank you guys for hanging out with us. Whether you're watching live or on replay, you know what to do. Please be sure to share this video on social media using hashtag #GetYourWeightUp. Also, be sure to like this video and subscribe to our page, especially if you're new to our page and haven't done so already. Guys, if you want to interact with us on social media, you know what to do. We're at The War Report on Instagram and Twitter. We are TW Report on TikTok. That's it for now, guys. We'll definitely catch up with you on our midweek show. Until then, have a great rest of your weekend. Have a great week. And as always, War Eagle.
War Eagle.
War Eagle.